the vegetation recovers and will therefore help to reinforce and set up some of those patterns. So the stability of the ecosystems on this island, from the seagrass in the back barrier to the salt marsh and the maritime forest, and ultimately the secondary and the primary dunes, depends upon the resilience of the island, the ability of those dunes to provide the protection during large storms. So look at this from the idea of the vegetation recovery. Ultimately depends upon the rate at which that island can recover relative to the frequency and magnitude of the storms that are going to come through. So if you have an increase in the frequency or magnitude of storms, or a rapid increase in the relative sea level, then the ability of the dunes to recover to a sufficient height and extent is going to be lost. And therefore, the island is going to go through substantial change, and there's a potential to lose some of these ecosystems. However, I'll show you a little bit later, when you get into areas such as this, where you have, in fact, a breach, that's now turning into a marsh, and it's turning into these tidal flats that are great for piping plovers. And it's created a huge dilemma for this park, because now they can't do anything with that because it's piping plover habitat. Whereas before, it was sand dunes. It's changed in its overall function. Now, we look at this. Overall, sea levels have been rising relatively steadily over the last century, but they're looking to rise even more rapidly over the last 20 years. And there's a new projection from NOAA that they're going to essentially start to double over the next 100 years. As a result, these islands are going to go through substantial change, and therefore not only change in their structure, but also in their ecosystems that they provide. Now, everything I've showed you up to this point, and most of the photographs I'm going to look at today, is from